Hi, it's Sheila the Storyteller here again with another one of my tasty tales. Now, this story is one I made up. I made it up myself, or at least not completely by myself. I made it up with the help of my grandson, James. Hi, James. James and I used to go and visit great Granny Liza in hospital, and James liked to share stories with her. And at the time, he was really keen on the story Jack and the Beanstalk. But we got tired of hearing that story over and over again. So James and I made this story up. And it's about Granny Liza. You see, Granny Liza lived in a wee house at the side of Cameron Reservoir, just on the outskirts of St Andrews. And Granny Liza quite liked living there because it had a big window and she could spend her days watching the ducks and the geese and the swans swimming on the water. But Granny Liza also liked doing other things. Granny Liza loved making pancakes. In fact, they used to say she was the best pancake maker in the whole of Fife. Any time visitors were coming to her house, out would come the girdle, this very girdle. Out would come the big brown bowl and the wooden spoon. In would go flour and sugar and milk and eggs. She would stir it all up, and soon there would be a big plate of steaming pancakes to share with the visitors. Well, James loved Granny Liza's pancakes, and he got really excited when he went to visit her because she always made him some. One day, when he was visiting, he had something to tell her. He told her that in nursery that week they'd been making pancakes. And you know what, Granny Liza, he said, we got to put the pancakes in a wee pan and throw them up in the air. Can I do that with one of your pancakes? Well, Granny Liza thought for a minute and said, well, all right then, but I've just washed this kitchen floor, so I think you should take the pan and the pancake out into the garden and see if you can throw it up in the air and catch it. But remember, if it lands on the ground, you've no to eat it. All right then, said James, and off he went into the garden with his wee pan and his pancake, and he started to practice throwing it up in the air. Up it went, but it landed on the ground. So he tried again. Up it went, and he caught it. And he put it up again, but it went on the ground again. Well, the third time he put it in the pan, he threw it up in the air, quite high. And it went away up and up and up and disappeared into the clouds. And he waited and waited and waited, but it didn't come down again. And then Granny Liza shouted him in for his tea, so he went away inside and forgot all about that pancake. But what happened to it? Where had it gone? Well, away up above the clouds, there was a castle. And in that castle, there lived a giant called George. And it just so happened that day, George was sitting eating a great big bowl of porridge, when all of a sudden, plop, into his bowl, something landed. Well, he looked in, and there, in the bottom of the bowl, was a tiny, teeny pancake. Well, he put his finger in, and he took it out, and he looked at it, and he popped it in his mouth. Oh, Oh, that was delicious, said George. Oh, I've never tasted a better pancake than that in my life before. I wonder where it came from. Well, George thought about it and he thought, well, I didn't make it. So it must have come from down below the clouds. Now, if I want more of these pancakes, I'm going to have to go down below the clouds. Now, George might be a giant, but he was a bit of a scaredy cat. He did not like going down below the clouds. There's all sorts of scary things down there, like trees and burns and animals. He didn't like that one bit. But he had enjoyed that pancake so much that he decided he was going to be brave and go down and see if he could find out where it had come from. So he went off and he got his big boots, put them on. He ran over to the end of the rainbow and he went whoosh down the rainbow until he landed with a big clunk right in the middle of a deep, dark wood. Oh, oh, I don't like it here, he said. Oh, it's awful dark. What am I going to do? I can't see where I'm going. Then he heard a wee noise. A wee voice said, Watch out! Watch what you're doing! You nearly squished me! And he looked round, and there, sitting on the ground beside him, was a wee moose. Oh, I'm awful sorry, said Jet. I'm awful sorry. I didn't mean to land on top of you. Who are you then, said the wee moose, and where do you come from? You didn't live in these woods. And so George explained what he was doing. He told the wee moose that he'd come down to see if he could find out where the delicious pancakes had come from. You didn't make them, did you? Oh no, said the wee moose. I didn't make the pancakes, but I know who did. Come on, I'll take you to find her. And so the wee moose ran up the giant's leg and up and sat on his shoulder. And with the wee moose whispering in his ear where he was to go, George stomped, stomped, stomped through the woods and out onto the path, round the loch, all the way to Granny Liza's house. Now, George was quite big, and Granny Liza's house wasn't very big. So George decided he would stay outside in the garden while the wee mouse went in to see if Granny Liza would make some pancakes. So the wee mouse scuttled across the floor in Granny Liza's kitchen where she was busy. She was busy washing the dishes with James. And the wee mouse squeak, 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 squeaked at her. And she looked down and she said, Ah! A mouse! And she jumped up on the chair. See, Granny Liza was a wee bit feared of mice. But James wasn't he? He came over and he picked the wee mouse up in his hand and he says, What do you want, wee mouse? And the wee mouse told him that he'd brought George the Giant here to see if Granny Liza would make some pancakes. Oh, of course you will. Granny Liza, said James, you've got a visitor outside. And so Granny Liza, now that James had the mouse in his hand, wasn't he so feared? So she jumped down off the chair and followed James outside, where she saw George the Giant. Now, Granny Liza might be frightened of mice, but she wasn't frightened of giants one bit. So she went over and she blathered to him and he told her that he'd tasted the pancake and he'd come to see if she would make him some more. Of course I will, said Granny Liza. So out came the girdle, out came the bowl, out came the wooden spoon, in went the flour and the sugar and the milk and the eggs. She stirred it all up and soon there was a lovely plate of pancakes. And she took them outside. And the four of them, George, James, the wee moose, and Granny Liza, sat down in the grass and had a picnic of pancakes. And when they were all finished, Granny Liza says, "Now, George, any time you want some pancakes, just come visiting." And George said he would. And with that, he toddled off back into the woods and up the rainbow all the way back to his castle. And you know what? George did come back for pancakes now and again, and Granny Liza always made them. And that's the end of the story. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you again on Monday with another one of my homespun tales. And if you want some more stories, you could pop over to the Tag Team Tales page where lots of storytellers are telling stories. Or if you want to see some more of my stories, you can go over to my Homespun Tales page where all my videos are, all my tasty tales and all my homespun tales. Bye for now.